For 3 weeks in a row, I woke up to see the field torn apart as if a battle had swept through it overnight. The devastation said everything they had come back, and this time it was the entire herd. I had no other option. We decided to set a drop gate trap. This wasn't the kind of trap meant to catch a single animal. It was designed to seal in the whole herd in one decisive moment. Either it worked completely, or it failed completely. I spent the entire day setting the trap with absolute care. After days of studying the tracks the wild boars had left behind, that afternoon, I stood there for one final check. The steel gate hung, suspended, waiting for the slightest trigger. Everything had to be exact, because there would be no second chance. When night fell, no one spoke much. All attention was fixed on the surveillance screen. Near midnight, the herd began to appear. They sensed something unusual about the structure, yet they couldn't resist the bait we had prepared inside. One by one, they stepped in, hesitant, alert. They were inside. I nearly held my breath, waiting for the last boar to cross the threshold. In that split second, I pressed the trigger on my phone. Then suddenly, crash! The heavy steel door slammed down onto the ground. In an instant, the exit was sealed. Chaos erupted. Snarls burst out in waves. The entire herd lunged at the enclosure like a storm. They rammed the steel mesh, clawed at the earth, spun frantically in search of escape. Flashlight beams swept across dark. Muscular bodies collided in desperation. A massive boar charged straight at the gate. The impact split the night with a harsh metallic crack, but the door did not move. They were locked in. In that moment, adrenaline surged through me. Weeks of tension exploded all at once. But it wasn't over. The next morning, while we were still dealing with the first trap, my phone vibrated again. The sensor in the southern section had been triggered. the second trap. This time it was broad daylight. Under the clear light, I could see the panic in their eyes more distinctly. No darkness to hide it. The gate was shut tight. The herd was compressed into a narrow space, circling, crashing into one another in desperation. Before we could steady ourselves, another alert came through. The third trap had fallen. In less than 24 hours, 3 steel gates had dropped one after another. The herds that had devastated the field were now contained within the traps we had spent weeks preparing. At last, the field was quiet again. No more sleepless nights. No more chaos in the dark. But as I stood looking toward the forest, I understood something I had never truly thought about before. We hadn't really won. We had only reclaimed a stretch of silence. And sooner or later, it would test us again.
Not every appearance of wild boar is a problem, but when fresh tracks overlap old ones, when the same routes repeat night after night, that's when territory is being taken, quietly, without a single confrontation. For the people living here, danger doesn't arrive overnight. It builds step by step, until the distance between wildlife and daily life is gone. So the solution chosen isn't confrontation, it's the creation of a control system designed to reduce conflict and protect human living space. Let's take a closer look at how that system works. The Boar Buster system is installed after days of field scouting. Placement, approach angles, and timing are all calculated based on the herd's movement habits. As night falls, infrared cameras pick up the first movements from the forest edge. The boars don't rush the bait. They stop, watch, test the ground, study the frame. This is typical behavior of animals shaped by constant survival pressure. The system activates exactly as planned, but the drop happens just a fraction of a second too late. That tiny delay is enough. The most alert individuals sense the danger. Within seconds, the entire herd pulls back cleanly, leaving nothing behind but an empty trap. This isn't a failure of equipment, it's a mismatch between mechanical timing and the razor-fast instincts of wild animals. By daylight, the system is fully inspected. No mechanical damage, no warped frame, no trigger malfunction. The problem lies in deployment. The hanging height isn't optimal, the sensor angle is slightly off, and most critically, the response delay is slower than a wild boar's natural reflex. Wild boar live in a world where survival is measured in seconds. They are smart, adaptive, and they never fall for the same mistake twice. Once danger is recognized, the behavior of the entire herd changes immediately. If the same setup is kept, the risk isn't repeated failure, It's escalation as the herd becomes more cautious and harder to manage. Sometimes, the smartest move is to stop before things get worse. Instead of pushing forward, all activity is paused. This isn't hesitation, it's restraint, meant to avoid further imprinting stress or warning signals onto the herd. The system is rebuilt from scratch and tested through continuous demo runs. Every detail is measured: drop speed, approach angles, natural movement lines. The goal isn't the fastest reaction, it's the right one. Consistent, predictable, reducing stress on both the animals and the surrounding environment. Once all parameters reach optimal levels, the system is redeployed at known entry points into farmland. That night, the herd appears exactly along its usual route. This time, the control process completes cleanly. The trigger responds fast and accurately. No panic, no uncontrolled collisions, no spillover risk. More importantly than what happens that night is what happens afterward. The herd's familiar movement route is cut off, and just like that, peace is restored, allowing local farmers to return safely to their fields.
Let's get 'em.
If the first intervention had gone perfectly, the most important lesson might have been missed. Wildlife control isn't for rushing, and it certainly isn't about blind faith in equipment. It demands observation, analysis, and constant adjustment. That moment of failure is what ultimately saved the entire harvest. Not through luck, but through clear judgment and responsibility in knowing when to act and when to stop.
Go on in.
Few people realize that in many rural areas across the United States, a familiar animal is causing billions of dollars in damage every year. That animal is the wild boar. They tear up crops, pasture land, and cultivated soil, leaving behind massive repair costs. In many cases, the damage ends up costing far more than investing early in proper control measures. That's why trapping systems are widely used as a practical and cost-effective way to manage wild boar populations in a controlled and responsible manner. Before setting any trap, operators spend considerable time surveying the area. Signs such as rooted soil, tracks, droppings, and well-worn paths leading to water sources are carefully studied. Choosing the right location is one of the most critical factors in successful control. One key principle is placing traps in shaded areas to reduce weather stress. Traps must also be checked at least every 24 hours to ensure animal welfare and compliance with local wildlife regulations. One of the most common designs is the drop gate corral trap, which operates using a tension-based trigger system. It relies on a simple but effective mechanism that allows the gate to fall quickly when the trigger is activated. As the boar approaches the bait and accidentally touches the trip bar, the latch releases and the gate drops instantly, securing the animals inside without direct human intervention. Every new trap design is developed to address limitations of earlier methods. To improve precision and control, many farms now use smart trapping systems equipped with control units, cameras, and mobile connectivity. This technology allows operators to monitor the trap area in real time through a smartphone app. Instead of relying on automatic triggers, they can wait until the entire sounder enters the trap before closing the gate remotely, greatly improving group capture efficiency. For many farmers, this isn't just about protecting crops. It's about preserving a way of life that has been passed down through generations. In addition to rigid corral traps, some regions use soft net traps with one-way designs. Boars can enter the baited area easily, but have difficulty exiting the same way. Because these traps use flexible materials, they reduce the risk of impact injuries and align more closely with modern humane wildlife management practices. Once the trap system is fully set, bait, often whole corn, is spread consistently over several days. This allows the boar to become familiar with the site and lowers their level of caution. The goal is to wait until the entire sounder, both large and small animals, is gathered inside the trap before activation. This approach avoids partial captures that leave the remaining population free to reproduce rapidly. Another common design is the circular or octagonal corral trap, often built with open space and minimal visual pressure. This layout allows the sounder to approach the bait more naturally, reducing the feeling of being enclosed too early.
Got him.
When the full group is inside, the system is activated to secure all animals at once. Operating these systems requires time, patience, and significant effort. They reflect a combination of scientific understanding and responsible wildlife management. In states like Florida, where wild boar populations are estimated in the hundreds of thousands, the damage to agriculture and wetland ecosystems is severe. Proper control reduces environmental pressure and helps protect native wildlife species. In some states, captured wild boar may be transported to licensed facilities where their health is evaluated and they are handled according to standard management protocols. No matter which method is used, the ultimate goal remains the same: to maintain balance between agricultural production, community interests, and the natural ecosystem. When traps are placed correctly and activated at the right time, people don't just reduce economic losses, they give nature a chance to regulate itself in a more sustainable way. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You might not realize this, but in wild boar control, the greatest danger doesn't lie in the moment the system is triggered. It lies in what comes after. Invisible traces don't vanish right away. Scent, sound, disturbed behavior patterns. To the rest of the herd, those traces are information. They're clues to answer one question only: is this place still safe? If handled carelessly, a single intervention point can quietly turn into a familiar checkpoint, one the herd remembers and returns to, raising the risk instead of reducing it. That's why the true goal of the entire system isn't how many animals are caught, but whether the behavioral loop of the herd is fully broken. At the forest edge, the smart enclosure records the first response. A few individuals are held back, while the rest of the herd stays at a distance, watching, not fully retreating. That tells us one thing clearly: this area hasn't been erased from their movement map yet. Instead of waiting longer to draw more in, the control team moves early. The first captured animals are transported out immediately, preventing the site from turning into a confirmation point for the herd behind. Once the vehicle leaves, the forest edge settles back into normal. No signals remain. Nothing left to assess. No reason for the herd to return. In the buffer zone, the system never fully activates. The boars approach, leave traces, then pull away. In many cases, this would be labeled a failed operation. But this time, the response is different. The area isn't left overnight. Biological traces are removed. The space is reset to what we call an information empty zone. At the same time, the transport route from the forest edge is quietly adjusted to pass through this area without leaving new signals behind. When the herd comes back to check, they find nothing familiar, no confirmation. The buffer zone loses its role entirely. It's no longer a link in the herd's movement chain. Near residential areas, the large enclosure system is fully deployed. This is the most sensitive zone, where every action must put community safety first. The rules here are strict. No prolonged handling on site, no gathering points, no curiosity, no uncontrolled contact. The goal isn't just to resolve the immediate situation, but to make sure this place never becomes an attraction point again. In a short time, a high-risk zone is converted back into a safe space for local residents. All captured individuals are transported to the designated handling locations according to regulations. This ensures they don't return to their old territory, don't create location memory for other herds, and don't introduce secondary risks to nearby communities. Throughout the process, transport isn't just a technical step, it's the final lock that seals the entire control system. Once movement is cut off, the chain of risk ends right there. A trap can control individuals, but only proper handling and correct direction can maintain long-term stability. In wild boar management, success isn't measured by how many are caught, but by whether dangerous behavior is prevented from happening again. When the herd signal chain is broken, the risk chain to crops and communities is broken with it. Quietly, responsibly, without extremes. And the greatest success of all, when the community no longer has to think about wild boars at all. Follow us and continue the journey with us. Dramatic, real, and rooted in the mission of protecting our homeland from wild boar threats.
getting started.